Models are hinting at some development in the Caribbean. I'm not saying anything too aggressive, but big areas of rain will develop. In the short term, we are still watching the flooding. The Dominican Republic, parts of Puerto Rico, parts of Haiti, for example, a lot of flooding. The southern United States, huge rains are about to move in. I want to show you that with a high flood potential, but the area I'm watching for the possibility of some tropical development, or at least kind of hinting at that, anywhere from Jamaica down toward the south and west in the Western Caribbean. As we go over the next week or two, we could start to see a flare-up of some rain. We will see some rain building, and then I'll monitor the possibility of some development out of this area. I want to go over the German model, the European model. We'll go over the American and Canadian models, what they are showing. We'll do that all in this video. Right now, watching out for some of the rain, again, still pulling through parts of the northern Caribbean, Costa Rica, Panama, parts of Colombia. We've had heavy rain, and still this old spin up to the northeast of us near Bermuda that is going to bring in some rain to Bermuda by tomorrow. There is that spin out there. I'm not seeing it developing into something subtropical, but it is sitting out there. So several areas to watch in the short term. So let's go from short term to long term. Then I'll show you the European model, and we'll go model by model in just a moment. For today, watching out for the scattered areas of rain: Jamaica, eastern Cuba, Haiti, the DR, back through Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands. We've had some of that flooding around, no doubt, on some of our islands in the Virgin Islands, and again, Costa Rica and Panama. And as we go throughout our Wednesday, Thursday, much of the same. But by Thursday, we're going to watch out across the southeastern Caribbean. Some of this rain from Guyana and Suriname and parts of Venezuela may start to move to the north. So giving you the heads up for us in Trinidad, we'll see a better chance of some rain. Grenada, St. Vincent the Grenadines, as we work our way toward the end of the week. Now let's go long term, right? This here is about a week from now. This is May 14th. You see the heavy rain building in the south central portions, southwestern portions of the Caribbean, and again near Trinidad. So a very active pattern ahead. I expected extra rain this month, and we're starting to see that. Now as we go out in time further, this here is May 16th, and you see it with me here. This is the GFS, or the American model, showing that area of really heavy rain. Much of the Caribbean clocked with some rain. This is the spot that may try to develop a little bit. We'll watch how close it gets to Jamaica, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. And then eventually it should pull its way up toward the northeast across much of our islands with really heavier rain later this month. This would be by May 21st. Now, this is a computer model. It's going to change. Actually, yesterday it was showing a hurricane develop, but I know, you know on this channel that I don't just follow the models. I follow all of my experience with these models. The GFS tends to kind of spin something up a little bit more, but it does do a good than what actually happens. It does do a good job, though, of kind of finding where something may develop. And as of now, it is showing that in the Western Caribbean, it would be a spot to watch, and something could try to spin up a little bit as it lifts to the northeast. At the least, though, really heavy rain is going to be a concern as we work our way into the middle and latter portions of the month. Now, that's the American model, kind of hinting at a tropical depression forming. Yesterday, it was trying to develop that hurricane. Here's the European model. This is the spot we're watching the Caribbean. This is that kind of almost subtropical area in the Atlantic. And here's the really heavy rain, which I'll highlight in a second, moving through parts of Texas, eventually Louisiana, over toward Mississippi, Alabama, and parts of Florida. So this here is going out in time. Let me stop the clock right here. This is as we work our way into May 12th. So we're getting into a week from now, and you can see a little bit less than a week from now. There's some of the rain building near Central America in the Western Caribbean. There's some of the rain building in the Eastern Caribbean, just like the American model was showing. And then to the north, there's the really heavy rain, parts of the southeast U.S., and eventually even clipping by the Bahamas. Now, going out in time further here, and let me stop the clock here. This is by the time we hit May 20th, and you see here, it is similar to the American model, showing an area of rain that kind of surges from the western into the Eastern Caribbean. Here's Jamaica, here's Haiti and the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, here's Trinidad, Barbados, St. Lucia, just to orient you, Antigua, Barbuda, but it is not showing development, but it is showing a really heavy area of rain that we'll need to watch out for. Mid to late month is going to get super active in the Caribbean, not necessarily with development, right, but with really heavy rain. Now, this is that same model, just kind of a different vantage point, saying, hey, in the Western Caribbean, it's kind of a spot to watch. It's showing a little bit of green in here. What does that mean? This is the chance of development. It is only showing about a 40% chance of some development, but that is significant enough that we're going to keep an eye on it together. I'm not seeing any crazy signs of development, but I am seeing the hint of that in the Western Caribbean. But nonetheless, I showed you both of those models. They are both showing really heavy areas of rain that will eventually move through parts of the Caribbean. So the American model, while it was showing a hurricane developing in the Caribbean yesterday, that was most likely not going to be the case. As of now, it is showing that this area here, by the time we get into about a week from now to about 2 weeks from now, could develop a little bit, maybe into a tropical depression. What's a tropical depression? It's just less than a tropical storm. A tropical storm and then a hurricane, those obviously get names. A tropical depression doesn't, but it will be a spot to watch. But the American model is a little more aggressive with developing it into something tropical. The European model, the Canadian model, the CMC, and the ICON model, which is the German model, these three models do not have this area developing into a named system or even a tropical depression, but all of the models do show a really heavy batch of rain developing, very widespread, with that high potential of flooding. So that's what we'll be watching out for. Now, the first name on the list in the Atlantic Basin, which is the Atlantic Gulf and Caribbean, is Andrea. Then you have Barry. I'm not seeing signs that Andrea is going to form anytime soon, but we are going to monitor together on this channel. So thank you for taking the time to subscribe as we get closer to the hurricane season. Clearly, watching out for these big areas of rain that will be developing. But Andrea, the first name on the list, and we round out the list with Wendy. Hopefully we don't get too far down the list with name systems as we go through the hurricane season. Now, I mentioned the really heavy rain that's going to set up in spots. Here's what's going on. We have one system rolling through the mid-Atlantic into New England, moving toward the Atlantic region of Canada. There's that spin that'll work its way into Bermuda. And then look at this heavy rain threat, parts of Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas. This area here, really the northern Gulf, is going to get very active the next few days. This here is by tomorrow, and you can see again the northern Gulf seeing some really heavy rain. Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, parts of Florida getting the potential of flooding. And there's that spin working its way, not a classified system, but into Bermuda with a higher chance of rain. And there's some of the rain and even a little bit of snow on the backside of it for the Atlantic region of Canada as we work our way toward the end of the week. Let's jump ahead into that. This here is by Friday. And once again, we just get these impulses, more and more systems, southern United States. So it is going to be a significant flood threat from extreme western Texas, eastern Texas, Louisiana, back through Mississippi, Alabama, and the panhandle of Florida, even parts of Georgia, with some of this rain that will be stretching by. And we'll see rounds of this. I'll show you those rain totals in just a moment. Let's cover the seas. They have been building a little bit in the western Gulf. And here's Bermuda right here. You can see just to the south, those seas building to about 3 to 4 meters. So that would be 11, 12 feet in spots with that spin we're seeing near Bermuda. This here is by the end of the week. This here is by Friday. Much of the Caribbean Gulf and the Atlantic passageways, Eastern Caribbean, and the Bahamas, not bad. Now let's go over some of the rain totals over the next 3 days. Watching out for those thunderstorms around. We'll see more of those as we get into that summertime pattern. Parts of the northern Bahamas into Florida, where we could get a few inches of some rain in some spots. Cuba, same thing. Now, as we work our way to the Cayman Islands, we do have a chance of a couple showers nearby today. Jamaica, a few showers and storms. We're going to continue with the scattered showers and storms. Heavier weather, though, still near the Dominican Republic, parts of Puerto Rico, parts of the Virgin Islands. The rain chance is trending down, but we have already seen the flooding, significant flooding that has been around, an additional 75 millimeters of rain or 3 inches of rain will be possible on top of what we've already had over the last several days. So I know we've had the flooding in parts of the Virgin Islands. I've been chatting back and forth with you, parts of Puerto Rico, and then some heavier rain just to the east of Antigua, Barbuda may clip us by, though, where we could get a few spots of 50 millimeters of rain or 2 inches of rain. I'll monitor how close that will be getting. Dominica South, spotty showers and storms, but I did mention we are going to see a surge of rain that could get closer to the southeastern Caribbean once we work our way toward the end of the week. Still the higher totals again. Guyana, Suriname, that's where we could have some totals over 75 millimeters of rain or 3 inches of rain. Costa Rica, Panama, northern Colombia, northern Venezuela, some high totals of 100 millimeters of rain or 4 inches. Scattered about spotty in parts of Central America, not as much in Belize and the Yucatan Peninsula once again. But look at these big time totals. Parts of Louisiana and Mississippi in particular could see half a foot of rain or more, 6 inches of rain or more. I mentioned not just one system, but multiple systems rolling by. The pattern kind of gets locked in. Sometimes it gets stuck. So we're going to see several rounds of rain in the northern Gulf. So a heads up with that rain and that high flood potential. You see it there, those colors popping out at you, no doubt about that. So Jamaica, we have about a 60% chance of some scattered showers and storms today, going down to about a 40% chance by Thursday. You see as we work our way through the Cayman Islands, that rain chance stays on the low side. About a 30 to 40% chance of rain Trinidad and Tobago, but I'm going to keep an eye on Thursday and Friday just to see how much of that rain I showed you in that model starts to move in. I'm not quite sure yet, but by the end of the week, we could see that better chance. Barbados, a 30% chance today and a 40% chance of a passing shower possible as we work our way into St. Lucia. Isolated chance in Grenada the next couple of days and about a 40% chance of some scattered showers. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, 30% chance today in Martinique and a 40% chance for tomorrow. Up to about a 50% chance of some spotty showers around tomorrow in Dominica. Rain chance a little bit higher. Same thing in Guadeloupe. Guadeloupe, by the way, a couple days ago, we had a water spout, which is a tornado over water roll on shore. That was quite the sight. Sometimes happens for us, though. Always need to pay attention to that, no doubt. 50% chance of rain tomorrow, 40% chance on Thursday. And you see in Antigua, Barbuda, I mentioned that rain just to the east. Some of that will try to creep in, so that rain chance is higher, 50 to even 60% chance of rain. We do that again around St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat. We're looking at a 50% chance of scattered showers today, a 40 to 50% chance in Anguilla and St. Bart's for the next 3 days. Rain chance 40% today, St. Martin, Saba, and Statia, but a 50% chance tomorrow and Thursday. And still the scattered areas of rain. Rain chance has gone down a little bit in Puerto Rico, but we've already had the flooding, and any additional rain will obviously lead to more flooding. Same thing back through the Virgin Islands. 40% chance of rain today, down to a 30% chance tomorrow. Bahamas, passing shower or thunderstorm possible. 20% chance for the next 3 days in the Turks and Caicos, but a 70% chance of rain today still in the DR, down to about a 50% chance on Thursday. And it does start to trend down some. You see by Thursday in Haiti, we're down to about a 40% chance. Belize, we are once again mainly on the dry side, 20 to 30% chance of a shower in Aruba, about a 30% chance Curacao and Bonaire could get clipped by a couple showers. Guyana, 50% chance today, but building again to a 60% chance tomorrow. Keep me posted in the comments. Suriname, you see it building again, a 70% chance of rain by Thursday. Cuba, a couple pop-up storms, central and eastern sections. Possibility, Costa Rica, Panama, watching out for those areas of some rain. 40 to 50% chance in Nicaragua, and about a 30% chance the next couple of days in Honduras. About a 40% chance by Thursday. A 50 to 60% chance, though, Guatemala and El Salvador. Rain chance will bump up some by Thursday around Mexico City, with that area of rain moving into the Gulf and the southern parts of the U.S. Yucatan Peninsula, rain chance holding at about 20%, 50% chance in northern Colombia, about a 50% chance as well in northern Venezuela. And watching that disturbance that will pull in some additional rain tomorrow in Bermuda as that spin starts to work closer. Along with that, we will see some higher seas. So very active period mid to late May coming coming our way. I'm monitoring the Western Caribbean for any signs of development, at the least increased rain and a big-time flood threat as we work our way into mid to late May. But watching out for some signs of development in this 26 days away from the start of the hurricane season. I hope you're doing well. Be safe with some of the flooding and have a good day ahead.